The blizzard had claimed them all. Varkan stood at the edge of the frozen valley, his massive obsidian scales crusted with ice, his breath coming out in plumes of smoke and steam. Behind him, the pack huddled in their grief 12 dragons, each one a mountain of sorrow. Their keening cries echoed through the white wasteland, a sound that would have frozen the blood of any creature foolish enough to wander these lands. But the hatchlings were gone. 7 of them, barely 3 months old, their shells still soft, their wings too weak to carry them through the storm. The avalanche had been sudden, merciless. One moment the nursery cave had been warm and safe. The next, it was buried under 10,000 tons of snow and ice. Varkan had clawed at the frozen mass until his talons bled. The others had breathed fire until their throats burned raw. But the mountain did not yield. The silence that followed was worse than any battle roar. "They are lost," Mirith, his mate, whispered. Her silver scales had dulled to gray. "We must accept this." Varkan said nothing. Dragons did not weep, not openly. But his chest felt hollow, as if something vital had been torn away. That was when he saw her. A figure, small and fragile, trudging through the snow. Human. Alone. Insane. Surely. To be out here in the aftermath of such a storm. Varkan's lips curled back from his fangs. Humans were scavengers. Opportunists. Perhaps she had come to loot what remained of their territory. "Shall I burn her?" Korath, the pack's youngest warrior, growled. "Wait," Varkan rumbled. There was something odd about the way she moved. Not with the quick, nervous energy of prey, but with purpose. And her coat, bulky, oversized, seemed to shift with movement that wasn't her own. Solene Ward stopped 30 paces from the pack. She should have been terrified. 12 dragons, each capable of incinerating her where she stood. But she simply stood there, breathing hard, her face red from cold and exertion. "I heard you," she said, her voice barely carrying over the wind. "I heard your mourning." Varkan stepped forward, lowering his enormous head to her level. "You heard nothing that concerns you, human. Leave. Before I forget the ancient accords." "The accords say nothing about this," Solene replied. She carefully unbuttoned her coat. The pack tensed. Varkan's throat began to glow with building heat. Then she opened the coat fully. 7 pairs of eyes blinked up at the dragons. 7 small, scaled bodies wriggled and chirped, nestled against Solene's torso in a makeshift sling made from her shirt. The hatchlings were dirty, frightened, but alive. The sound that came from Mirith was something between a roar and a sob. "How?" Varkan breathed, his rage forgotten. Solene's legs buckled, and she fell to her knees in the snow. "I was checking the mountain passes. Survey work. When the avalanche hit, I saw your nursery cave collapse." She was shaking now. From cold or exhaustion or both. "I have equipment. Ground-penetrating radar. I could see the air pocket, see them moving." "That does not explain how you retrieved them," Varkan said, though his tone had lost its edge. "I dug." She held up her hands. They were raw, bloody, wrapped in torn fabric. "I dug for 18 hours. The pocket was small. You're too big to reach it. But I'm not." Varkan stared at this impossible creature. Humans were weak, fragile, short-lived. They had no fire, no flight, no scales to protect them. And yet this one had done what 12 dragons could not. "Why?" Mirith asked, moving closer. "Why would you risk yourself for our young?" Solene looked up at her, and Varkan saw tears frozen on her cheeks. "Because I heard you crying," she said simply. "And because I know what it's like to lose everything." She carefully lifted the hatchlings, one by one, placing them in the snow. They immediately began chirping for their parents. Tiny wings flapping uselessly, Mirith swept them up with her tail, bringing them close, checking each one frantically. Varkan looked at Solene. Really looked at her. She was hypothermic. Exhausted. Injured. She had expended everything she had to save children that were not her own. For a species that most humans feared, "You will die if you stay out here," he said. "I know." Her voice was distant. "Couldn't. Carry them and my beacon. Left it with my gear. No one knows where I am. To why? Leaf?" Koreth snorted flame. "Then she is a fool." "No," Varkan said quietly. He lowered himself to the ground beside her. "She is what humans call a hero." He extended one massive wing, creating a shelter from the wind. Mirith added her own, forming a warm cave around the human. The other dragons moved closer, adding their body heat. "You saved our future," Varkan said. "We do not forget such debts." Solene smiled weakly. "Just get me somewhere warm. And maybe some hot chocolate. I really want hot chocolate." Despite everything, Varkan found himself making a sound he hadn't made in years, a low, rumbling chuckle. "Humans," he said. "You are the strangest creatures in all the galaxy. Weak, yes. Fragile, certainly. But you have something we do not." "What's that?" Solene mumbled, already drifting toward sleep in the warmth. "You have a strength that has nothing to do with fire or fang," he replied. "You call it compassion, and it makes you the most dangerous species of all." The pack surrounded Solene Ward, keeping her alive with their warmth as the sun set over the frozen valley, and in the center of their protective circle, 7 hatchlings chirped and played, oblivious to how close they had come to death. Varkan watched over them all. His grief transformed into something else. Gratitude. Respect. And perhaps, for the first time in his long life, genuine friendship for a human. Tomorrow, they would carry her to safety. They would see her healed. And the dragons would remember that humanity, for all its weakness, possessed a kind of courage that even they could not match. The kind that digs through ice and stone with bare hands. The kind that risks everything for the cries of the lost. The kind that made humans, against all logic, magnificent.